Welcome to Go For Side Effects. I'm your host, Kevin Simon. Today, you all know my co-host, John. John, how you doing?
I'm doing good, thanks.
And we're at the round table with John and Wade and Sarah. Wade, how you doing?
I'm doing great, man.
Sarah, how are you doing?
I'm doing great. Thank you for having me.
Oh, you're welcome. You're welcome. Y'all are looking lovely today. I like what y'all are wearing. So, I had to start it off like that. All right, guys, we're going to get into some hot topics here. And, you know, Sarah, I'm going to let you take it away. But first, before, I know Wade wants to say something about the Army. Go right ahead, Wade.
August 16th, this is National Airborne Day. I want to just give a big shout out to all my airborne brothers and sisters. And you know what it's be like to be part of the cult.
And I want everybody to know, why would you jump out of a perfectly good airplane? Just saying, you know.
I'm not saying nothing bad.
I know I got 3 Army against 1 Navy guy here, but hey, man, I can take it. I can take it. All right, Sarah, let's get into the cannabis side of the world. I want to know what the difference of cannabis and prescription drugs like the VA gives you. What is better for you and why?
All right. Well, just to give a little bit of background, when we started to have this schedule set up, there was supposed to be a cannabis doctor that has her PhD in cannabis, but she was busy. So I'm hoping that she will come on at a later time. I've done my best to do the research from my own patient experience and the research that I've done through a simple Google search that anyone else could do. But I've provided the links to Kevin Simon, who has also provided them to you, hopefully in the comments. So if you want to have any other further research or have any other questions that we haven't answered here, please go to those web links and evaluate more for yourself. So to answer that question, Kevin, we really have to understand how cannabis affects the body. And in order to do that, we need to know about the endocannabinoid system. So before I dive into that, have any of you heard of the endocannabinoid system in the body?
No.
Negative.
Yes.
It has something to do with the little receptors and the acceptance or denial.
Absolutely, Wade. That's absolutely correct. So the endocannabinoid system is just like any other body system, like your cardiovascular system or your nervous system. It is the system that regulates the receptors of cannabis. So in cannabis, there are several different cannabinoids, and we'll get into that in a moment. But those are the receptors we're talking about. Those endocannabinoid system receptors that cling onto all those different cannabinoids. And there's so many different ones that they've only been able to label 2 major cannabinoids at this time, cannabinoid receptors. And that's CB1 and CB2. But before jumping into that, we need to really understand what the endocannabinoid system regulates in the body. And so it regulates, and according to, before I jump ahead, so you know where the information is coming from, according to Harvard at health.harvard.edu, it regulates and controls many of our most critical bodily functions. By doing so, going through our neurotransmitter system, it kind of creates a homeostasis, controlling these different bodily functions from learning and memory, emotional processing, sleep, temperature control, pain control, immune and inflammation, digestion, and liver function. So it has a way of balancing these in the body to create a homeostasis, which is what the body is always trying to regulate, so we can function more effectively overall. So the endocannabinoid system is a center of renewed international research and drug development right now, because it's such a a hot topic, and we want to know so much more about it because of what we are seeing in our current cannabis patients and the amazing benefits. And so what they have found, like I said, is the two different receptors, CB1 and CB2. So in this network of chemical signals and receptors, it's a densely packed system throughout our brain and body. And so the CB1 receptors are in the brain, most prevalently in the brain, in the central nervous system. And so it helps control and regulate the nervous system, acting like a traffic cop controlling the other neurotransmitters. And it helps to regulate that by having that immediate feedback, being able to control that balancing system for your hunger, your temperature, and all of those different things that the stimuli creates in our body that we have to react to.
So that's why. So I've heard. So when when a person gets feeling really good, that's what gets them the munchies and want to eat, everything in the kitchen cupboard, right?
Absolutely. Those receptors having that reaction and telling you that you're hungry.
Okay.
And we'll dive more into that later on. So that first receptor, or that CB1 that they found, has to do with what is called Anadamide. And it was named that after a word called Anada for bliss. And I thought that was very interesting because I have often used the term canna bliss, and there's the name, right, in the receptor.
Canna bliss. I like it.
So in addition to the receptors, there's enzymes that help to break down the properties of the cannabis even further and help the body function. But for the CB2 receptors, they're the ones that are found mostly in our immune tissues and other places in the body, like our digestive system. And so the CB2 receptors are critically found in their peripheral nervous system as well. And it's critical to help control our immune systems and their function, modulating intestinal inflammation, that contraction of the muscles, helping with pain and inflammation of the bowel and all those different types of conditions. And these receptors, they don't cause the high side effect that the CB1 receptors do because they're not in the brain. And so that's probably why a lot of these cannabis regulations have allowed the CBDs that don't have the THC and CB1 receptors in them to be more prevalent throughout the nation without the need of having that medical law change.
Well, what I think is crazy is they have more of a problem with marijuana, if I can say that, than they have a problem with than opioids. They have no problem at all sending you to these doctors, especially VA. And this is where we're going to get into a hot topic with everybody. They have no problem whatsoever giving you hydrocodone or anything like that when they damn well know this is so much more better. And let everybody know out there, I'm not saying run out and just start smoking weed or do whatever you got to do, but you got to find out what kind, what type. Am I correct?
That's correct. And to piggyback on the opioid addiction and crisis, and why cannabis is such a more effective and better option for most patients, is because it's much safer than opiates. There's no overdose and there's no addiction. And it can treat a multitude of different ailments without any side effects or very minimal side effects if you use THC.
Right.
Now,
Okay.
Sarah, I don't think you really can't OD on marijuana, can you? Is that even possible?
No, you cannot overdose on marijuana.
And see, but a lot of people say, oh, well, you start doing marijuana, you're going to start doing more stuff. Well, hell, you go to the damn VA and they start, at first they give you ibuprofen. Here you go, try it. Then they move you up into pain management. Then they start giving you other stuff. That's more addicting than this is.
Absolutely. And speaking to the NSAIDs or ibuprofen, as a result of the aptitude and amounts that we have had through our military career, a lot of us can't take them anymore. And so for that chronic inflammation, that CBDs in the cannabis is really the best option for us and the only option, because those class of NSAIDs just aren't effective for us and can cause further damage in our stomachs and the lining of our stomachs and things of that nature.
Yeah,
Okay.
I had heard the argument on a news broadcast within the last couple of months. Some people's argument will say that marijuana, they term it as a gateway drug to more, and I'm like, I guess it's an argument if you want to discuss it. I don't agree with it, but a gateway drug to make you, you could say that about anything. Or if I eat something sweet, well, that could be a gateway to becoming fat. Well, if you abuse it, I suppose, but anyway, that was a term I heard not that long ago, and I just had to shake my head.
Well,
You have to be smart enough to understand that no.
Well, I think that's with anything. I mean, anything you do and overdo. That's with anything. Drinking
Right.
Dr. Pepper, right? And that's the thing that burns my ass about this, is that they have no problem doing magical mushrooms, but they will not prescribe marijuana, even for the doctors. I don't get it. Like in the state of Texas, it's illegal to do marijuana. But if you can get a prescription, which is hard as hell, then that's nothing. That's nothing at all. So you got people that have cancers. The benefit for marijuana, from what I understand, tell me if I'm right or if I'm wrong, Sarah, the benefit for marijuana, increase hunger. It helps with nausea. And what are the other benefits? That's what I want to know.
There's several benefits, and it depends on the strain, of course, and which CB1 or CB2 receptors of the endocannabinoid system is going to be working on. So when we talk about can it help, it really depends on the patient and the need of the individual. So let's take PTSD, for example. We know that PTSD creates an abnormal regulation of many body functions, which as a result of those neurotransmitters. And so the body of a PTSD patient can no longer regulate their neurotransmitters. And what we just learned from Harvard is that the endocannabinoid system regulates our neurotransmitters. And then on top of that, with that CB1 receptors of THC and some CBD enters the brain through that blood-brain barrier, our CB2 receptors will help balance that THC and other receptors of the CB1 in the brain, so that in the event there is an imbalance and you have those side effects that THC causes, that CBD of CB2 receptors will help balance that in your body. So why that is important and why we should focus on ingesting cannabis in a whole flower system is so that you can get all the properties, because they work together and function the best when together. So you're getting that fully functioning endocannabinoid system working as a partnership, instead of just getting that THC in the form of whatever extraction that you decided to ingest.
Right. And I have to tell y'all this story last week. So I was on TikTok, and they were doing a show. It was like 6 people, and they were all excited about the PACT Act being passed. Well, I happened to make a comment on there, and I'm not trying to down it, but I made the comment that the PACT Act shit. And they blew me up. Like, I can't believe you said it. So they invited me in. I said, number one, it doesn't address the sarin gas, vaccine injuries of the anthrax shot, the PTABs, mustard gas. They took that out. Great for Camp Lejeune and Desert Storm and vets, for all of them that end up getting cancer, but it doesn't address the real issues. And in there, when you read it, great facility, but none of it talks about how are they going to go about taking care of the veterans or anything like that with pain pills, drug addiction, drinking problems, and none of that. And I do think cannabis could solve that problem if they did it properly.
I guess one of the biggest things I don't understand, maybe one of y'all can answer this. What is the big pushback for our government? Is because big pharma and the meds, and because they can tax it as this is a guess. One of the biggest pushbacks is because Uncle Sam can't tax it, and that's why maybe they don't want to see the veterans, because we've all talked to many veterans that this cannabis is helpful, and that's why it's such a big conversation amongst us. But yet, and I had asked Sarah earlier, can you OD? And she says no, which is great, but clearly you can OD on the prescriptions that they want to push on us that is supposedly going to help us. I understand the pain meds help, but cannabis has a lot more functions and more because it's a natural thing, right?
Right.
Where the opioids, yes, I understand opioids come from plants as well, but it's not broken down.
Right. It's manufactured.
Right. Correct. Thank you.
And other bullshit is put in there.
Yeah. Right. So what is the pushback? Do any of y'all know what our government says?
Well,
Why they're so
I
dead
could have
set
sworn
against it?
I could have sworn they said we're going to pass marijuana everywhere. We're going to pass it. They said we're going to pass the bill. They keep talking about it, but they don't do it because it takes away from big pharma.
I think
It's true. Think of how many people out there that are cancer patients right now. Just think about it, that are suffering because they can't get in the state of Texas or, any other place that the 20-something damn states can't get their head out of their ass and take. It's true. I'll say it like it is. I don't care. I'm sure I'm already blacklisted. But I know Wade, what questions do you have about it?
Well, and Sarah can correct me if I'm wrong, but marijuana still is federally illegal. Now it's a state issue. Michigan is legal. In Iowa, it is not. But like my daughter explained to me, she can go down the street and buy a bag of weed easier than she can buy a 6-pack of beer. Not reassuring either way, but so until in Iowa, we have a Republican governor, Lover. Texas, you got a Republican governor. He's good. Florida, same thing. But until you can get the people on board, my biggest concern, what I've seen, and this is locally, is with the increase of fentanyl that's coming across the border, it's making its way north. They mix the fentanyl with quote unquote what I'm used to as far as weed, and they mix it, they smoke it, they die. And we've had quite a few of those up here. Where in Michigan, you can walk right into a dispensary and pick out your product, talk to the people. They're great consultants. They tell you what you want. They give you a free joint on the way out, whatever. And you know what you're getting. It's regulated.
Right, and it's safe.
It's not some ditch weed that I grew in my backyard, spiked with some fentanyl to make you feel better, and some kid dies.
Right, and the product that we put on this show that we sponsor it and everything that we totally believe in is Wild Branch. It has no THC, but it's pure organic, but don't have the THC, so it makes it legal in every state. I understand that, but with people with neuropathy, that product's great. But people with neuropathy, there's days that I can barely walk. And so course you want going to take the edge off or anything like that, but we can't get marijuana here. But hell, we can get a 6-pack of beer or a bottle of whiskey, and I mean
Bottle
everything
of
else.
whiskey.
You know, that's what I'm talking
Take
about.
the pain away. But and say again, Sarah can correct me. I think CBD by itself is good for quote unquote some people, but you need that THC percentage in there to get into the body to react with the receptors to do what it's supposed to do. And you know, unfortunately, here in Iowa, we don't have it. I mean, I think it's coming, but it's going to be a slow process, and it's going to be a fight.
Texas will be the last damn state.
Well, now, I think up in Minnesota, they just recently, or not that long ago anyway, they did some form of legalization of THC to some degree. Now, you were mentioning percentages. So, Sarah, or Wade, because I don't know the answer, what is a percentage? What would be the minimal percent of THC that would benefit? And I know everybody's going to vary, so it's a loaded question, but would help an individual?
All you, Sarah.
Well, what we need to understand is in order to treat any medical condition, you have to know the cause. And so for that symptom or that individual, it really needs to know why he was taking it to have such a low dose of THC. I'm assuming it'd be to balance out the CBD products and the receptors of the CB2, which would help with digestion, anxiety. And so those cataracts at times can cause depression. And so a little bit of THC can help counteract that by giving those molecules, putting them into the brain to balance the neurotransmitters and assist with, those other properties. Did I answer your question?
Yeah, fair enough. I knew it was a loaded question because, like anything, there's a lot of variables. Even with marijuana, there's a tremendous amount of variations.
In addition to that, I'm sorry to cut you off, it really matters on the form of ingestion. So if you're looking for a quicker high, of course, smoking it is going to get you that faster result because of the way that it is received into the body. I would suggest not smoking flower unless you're going to, of course, if you don't have any lung issues, you won't have a problem, but just to clean out any of those impurities when you're burning flower, I would suggest smoking it through either a water pipe or a bong or using a vaporizer, either in the form of a pen or other type of product. That way it helps with any other impurities in the burning process. And then of course, we all know how edibles take a bit longer to enter the system. And we can get into that a little bit more in depth if you like, as to why that is and how it affects the body if you like.
So what is the advantage of smoking marijuana out of a bong what is the advantage there? I have no idea.
Wait, raising his hand.
If you have a nice water bong and the pipe will actually go into the water and the marijuana will be on the outside. So as you're smoking it, it's being humidified, if you will. So then your lungs, your alveoli, they're not going to hate you for it.
Oh.
Versus if you just smoke a regular joint, sometimes that can be harsh.
So it's, in other words, maybe reduces the amount of coughing?
The one,
Yeah.
I don't know.
Hopefully
I'm
it
asking,
prevents
I don't know the
emphysema.
answer.
I'm just picturing Simon right there with a big old 5-foot bong sitting on his lap. just hitting it on a Friday night.
Oh yeah, I got to be live and do it, and all of a sudden all the
Big old
cops show
hookah.
up. Heck, man, I live in one of them counties. You better not get caught with anything, man. I'm telling you right now, your ass going to jail. But that's the thing it's so stupid because like Harris County, if you get caught, No big deal. They really don't do much. The outer counties? Oh, hell no. I'm sure Austin, you can do whatever the hell you want. I
Yep,
mean,
absolutely. In Austin, I bet you can. You can do whatever you want over there.
yeah, because I
Why would
San
Austin be less?
because they don't give a
Huge lift.
shit.
Liberal, huge liberal over
Yeah,
there.
it is very, very, very socialized. I'm telling you, I'm surprised. I'm really surprised that it hasn't passed in Texas, but because of Austin. But hopefully it comes soon. And but the federal government needs to legalize it for the veterans.
Yes. And tax the hell out of it, whatever they want to do, but legalize it straight across the board.
Do you know how much money the VA would save if they legalize it?
Is it legal in Minnesota?
I don't know.
I think yes is the answer to that question to some degree, because I heard on the news here again not long ago. I was on a local news channel about how they had legalized. There's a low percentage, I think. If somebody's listening or somebody, maybe I know it's legal to some degree.
Because I had a VA doctor, and she explained to me. I made a joke. I was just joking with her about my glaucoma and PTSD, and she goes, where I came from in Minnesota, I could help you out. But I'm in Iowa, and now I'm working for the VA. There's nothing I can do for you right now. So until it's legalized federal, the VA is not going to do anything.
That's right. That's right. As a matter of fact, I brought it up to my doctor. They're like, "Oh my gosh, is that what?" No, I'm not doing. I'm just asking a damn question. And they're like, no. We highly recommend you don't start doing that. Or CBD or any. And I'm like, why? They can't give you an answer. All they say is because if it chemically medicines with this and this and this and this, well, shit, I wouldn't have to take all this medicine if you legalize that.
So I got a question for Sarah.
Yes.
Okay, so I know there's different strains and different strains do different things. Mm-hmm. So I'm going to Vegas in a couple of weeks. If I want to have a strain that's going to keep me, I don't want to fall asleep. I don't care about the hungers, but I don't want to fall asleep, but I still want to have a good time. What strain would that be?
All right. That's a great question, Wade.
Oh, do tell. Do tell.
Out of a general rule of thumb, it's now that we have a lot of hybrid combinations, it's a bit different. But as a general rule of thumb, indica usually is increased CBD, which is usually going to make you sleepy, but it helps with your chronic pain. Sativas are going to have higher THC, which is going to make you feel euphoric, which is that high feeling, and it's going to not make you sleepy. So it's going to help you want to be able to walk through Vegas and not want to go lay down in 2 hours. So my suggestion would to probably do get a good 60-40 or 70-30 split with a high THC combination so that you still have that CBD to counteract that chronic pain issue if you have that. I'm guessing that you do. But the top three, if you go to cbdoracle.com, they give you the top 12 different apps that you can actually look up strains and find out a plethora of information. There are so many different strains out there. So you're
saying there's an app for that?
What was that?
There's an app.
I still didn't catch that. I'm sorry.
There's an app, a computer app.
Yes, there's several apps for that. So the top three is Weed Maps, Leafly, and Mass Roots.
Are you kidding me?
Yeah, and there's
she's not kidding.
Others. But those are the top three of the top 12 that was put out on cbdoracle.com. So that'll give you a good indication of what those strains will do. And from there, you can determine if it's a good 60-40 or 70-30 split.
I'm sorry, you said CBD what? What was the name of the website?
Oh, CBD Oracle, ORACLE.com.
I want
Okay.
to I want to answer Sean's question up here. He said, any news about the study, or any more news about the study that was said about sarin gas? The answer is they swept it under the rug when they passed the PACT Act. It was swept under the rug. Bunch of crock shit. And
Kevin, I'm actually using that study in support of a claim that I've had. This is an ongoing claim for 10 years. I guess we'll see. This will be a good testing.
oh, that'd be good.
Yep, I am using the press release as well as the actual study itself, being a VA DoD funded study. There's absolutely no reason they can't take this as evidence.
Well, yeah,
And
because it's VA studied.
correct.
It,
Um, I will say I kind of agree. I shouldn't say I do agree with Dr. Garth Nicholson we had a few weeks back.
yeah.
When I've been in contact with him, that cannot explain everything. It can explain a portion, certain percentage, but it can't be the all done. And I believe that. But it's a piece of the puzzle.
Yeah, and you know, when I was talking to them on their TikTok little thingy, and I'm sure they're probably gonna watch this, and they were asking me questions about it, and they're like, one guy has seen some of our videos, and the lady, which I won't mention her name, she was like, well, your podcast probably only takes up for Republicans, not Democrats. So I put
Tell
it
her
to
we
her,
were independent thinkers.
you damn right. I said, this isn't political. There shouldn't be a damn PACT Act. There shouldn't have to be one.
Nope.
And there shouldn't have to be go to the VA, get medication, and we're gonna treat the symptom, but we're not going to cure it. Neither, which is a total bunch of bullshit.
Now, what I will say is, I have a friend that works in the VA system. So if a Gulf War veteran is having those issues that they listed on the PACT Act does me no good whatsoever. Do I have some of those things? Yes, but it doesn't do me any good. Then the veteran needs to get with a VSO and get their claim filed. This is going to be yet another, I call it the Agent Orange syndrome. If you file, if you actually have these diagnosed conditions like your IBS, minus IBS complex, GERD, Barrett syndrome, my VSO said, don't even worry about it. And unless you're going to die, but if you aren't rated or you need to get rated or you want a higher rating, then yes, you need to file, and this is the time to file, because it's going to be a big, huge blanket. The Camp Lejeune thing is not looking good for the government.
Oh,
so, yeah. But like they said cancers was in the PAC Act.
Right.
Melanoma was listed. I've had 4, my back looks like a road map because of the scars as far as how large the melanomas were. Prostate cancer. And she said, until you have chemotherapy, we really can't do anything, and which is fine. I'm taken care of. I'm good. Like I said, it doesn't do anything for me. But those who are not either at 100% or they do have these diagnoses, they need to get with the VSO and get something filed.
Wild Branch is a truly pure cannabis oil. They make CBD containing 0 THC and no carrier oils. Use Wild Branch oils and salves to calm, cool, and soothe your body and leaving you pain-free. I know I've used it anytime that my feet burn because I have neuropathy real bad. When I use this product, this is a product I believe in. When you go to order, use promo code GWI22 for 22% off. GWI22 for 22% off is the promo code. Click the link below. Thank you. Now back to the show. Right. And that's just it. That's the other thing. I want to tell y'all something that I've learned too. And this is a part about going to your VSO officer or DAV or whatever you're going to do. I have two guys that work with me that have no idea about the benefits. One of them's in his 70s. One of them's in his late 60s. And I'm like, I'll tell y'all where this stems from. We're moving my father-in-law, and we're moving him into a assisted living / independent living style place. And we walked in there, it looked like a damn cruise ship. The first thing they asked me was, is he a veteran? Nope. And we got to talking more and more. How many veterans, 50 and above, have no idea about any of what they're eligible for when they pass away or if they need help? And I'm over there going, what the, who? I was like, damn, do we need to go on tour? All four of us go on a tour bus and travel the damn world and start talking to veterans about what they're eligible for?
Well, I don't think when you leave the military, and Kevin, you've mentioned, and I think when we leave the military, at least back when I left, when I ETS, I got to think, what was it, 94? They don't do a good job. You're just leaving. They ask you a couple questions. Is there anything you suffer from now that you didn't when you came in? Which is a loaded question because you don't know, you may not be aware of it. And they're damn sure not going to say, oh, you're a veteran, you're now eligible for this, 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 and this, and this. Because you're, unfortunately, we're all a number, okay? We're a expenditure that the government doesn't like, and that's why we all struggle.
But
because
let me tell you this. They help you sign up and get benefits and all this stuff. And it's amazing the level of care you get at a nursing home or assisted living or any of that stuff compared to most people because you're a veteran.
If you're a veteran, right?
Yes, it is amazing. Now, not unless you have top-notch insurance, but as a veteran, I was so impressed with this place. I was like, hell, I'm ready to move in.
Well, tell me about it.
Yeah, I was like, damn, it looked like cruise ship. It's awesome. But I do think we need to do a roundtable. I do, about benefits for 50 and above as you're going to retire, as you're getting older, what you're eligible for and what your spouse is eligible for. I had an uncle that they had to get divorced so he could get VA benefits. Bunch of bullshit. Now,
what? They had to get divorced?
They had to get divorced because combined income made too much money.
Oh, yeah. Jesus.
Because none of this Agent Orange shit was covered at the time. Now, think about that. She does not get his benefits because they got divorced.
Yep. That much. Now, that I was aware of. If you get divorced, benefits gone.
Yeah. Benefits
gone. That person. But what I don't understand, you said 50 and above. Is 50 like a magic number for a veteran?
No. For me,
our generation.
Our generation. Our generation. It could be 45. I'm just
okay.
I'm saying it because I'm just 1 year above 50. So let's not like push the damn envelope here.
You old bastard.
You know,
so,
yeah.
So Kevin, I'll tell you, like, so we have a mutual friend, and they like to go out and they like to try to appeal to the masses, if you will. I've always said, I've preached this before, it's one veteran at a time.
That's right.
So like in the state of Iowa, if you are rated at 100% permanent and total or unemployability, you do not pay property taxes.
Correct.
Right. I mean, that's an awesome benefit. But unless you know where to look or where to go. Nobody's going to tell you about it.
No, no. It's just like the Texas has the Hazelwood Act, just like I think Iowa has it. Most states do, Colorado, that if you served a certain amount of time, your kids can go to college up to 150 hours. Most people don't know it. People don't know their benefits. Go down to the damn VA. If you served your country, look it up. Go to va.gov. Your benefits are all there. I'm helping these two guys out, start knowing their benefits, get their card.
How many guys?
Two of them.
Not 200, two, right?
Yes.
Exactly.
And I mean, and this is what this show is about. Veterans, helping veterans out, connecting and starting to know if people have questions. A lot of people don't realize we're stronger as one, not divided. We're stronger as one.
And you know, our generation hasn't come together.
Is Sarah in our generation?
He's a veteran.
I know, but I'm talking about generation. Sarah, we're going to loft you into this generation, all right? Even though you're younger.
Like we do.
Yeah, I don't want you to feel left out.
You got to start talking about her shirt again?
No, I'm not going to say anything about that. No. But I mean, it's a serious problem that veterans are. When I was in there, I knew people that were like, "Oh yeah, we're trying to find my mom a nursing home," and I knew their dad was a veteran, so I was like, "Have y'all called the VA?" Well, what for? Well, she gets your dad's benefits whenever he passes, and he already passed. And they're like, "What?" And so I give them a lady's name for the VSO, and boom, right in there. And so it is about helping one veteran at a time. But with this program, we're going to help many veterans. We're going to.
Well, see, so here in Iowa, probably from the Iowa Veterans Home, which is in Marshalltown, Iowa.
Yep.
When I worked there, we would have veterans come in with a little more than the shirts on their back. And just because you don't have any money doesn't mean that you can't have a place to live. The bottom line is you go in, you prove that you're a veteran. You have to, obviously, like anything in our world, you have to kind of prove out the financial thing. There's benefits. Just because you don't have any money doesn't mean that there isn't a place for you to live. And I watched, we would have to go through and make sure these veterans, the stuff they have in the rooms, which was always, safe, there's a place. But like you said, Kevin, the bottom line is the veterans just don't know this. And here again, if it wasn't the veteran, their spouse, as long as they're still married, then that individual has a place to go as well, and
right.
Again, people don't know this.
And I mean, I am going to be speaking on forums, and I know Sarah's about to kick my butt because I know she wants to say something. But I am going to be speaking on some forums right now to start helping that process of getting veterans to start knowing what their benefits are. I mean, even if you tell a vet, "Hey, man, call the 1-800-827-1000. I'll say it again, 1-800-827-1000. Call them, talk to them. They'll set you up, and they're glad to do it. Sarah, your turn.
I just wanted to add to that. There are some organizations that they do tailor to veterans, but if you're a cannabis patient, because of their fear of losing their federal funding, or if it's a VA affiliated housing situation, they won't allow you to stay there if you're a cannabis patient.
And that's sad. And that's sad because there's a damn reason why they're homeless and using. And usually, I mean, I say we'll take care of anybody that, I'll say it, crosses a border. We'll take anybody that, over in a different country, but we won't help our vets. I don't get it. Why on God's damn, man, I'm telling you, man, I almost said my little ass. Oh, shit, I just said it. Anyway, but it does. It pisses me off. Why on God's creation are we not taking care of our vets?
We got to take care of our own, man. I mean,
Yeah, it's
and
true. It's true. You, Sarah, I want you to go ahead. Let's talk. I want you to talk about Veterans Day, talking about helping people. That's November
Well,
11th. If any of y'all need to know that date.
I try to help our veteran community is by putting together a 501c3, which many of you are aware of, Operation Truth Vaccination Exposure Research. We have an incredible team and we need as many volunteers as possible. And we should be coming out with what those volunteer positions are shortly. But what Kevin is speaking to is a major event that we're putting together on Veterans Day here locally in Michigan and hopefully across the nation if we get enough individuals and groups that want to join us. It's a working title, but what I came up with is Go For Illness March on the VA. And so when we speak of March, I don't mean like we're going to take it over or whatever. When I speak to March, I mean like we are going to petition with actual signs and march up to the VA and let them know, what we need changed. And so what we have scheduled is to go to 3 different locations here in Michigan, 2 VAs and one facility, which is the anthrax manufacturer, Emergent Biosolutions, located by Lansing, Michigan. And so what we're hoping to achieve is much what Sarah did with Camp Lejeune, is get somebody to hear us and somebody to listen to us, and the importance of all the VAs across the board speaking to each other so they understand that Gulf War illness or chronic multi-symptom illness doesn't just affect those that deployed to Iraq or Afghanistan, but it encompasses all environmental toxic exposures that have affected all Gulf War era veterans from 1990 until present day. And so when we speak to those benefits of the Gulf War Registry, the War Related Injury and Illness Study Center, those are benefits that all veterans who are suffering from Gulf War illness are privy to. And that's not something that the VA is expressing. And it seems like the West isn't talking to the East, which is why I had to go to Washington State to be seen by the risk facility in Palo Alto when I was told that I couldn't be seen at the risk at the East side because I didn't deploy. And so this is why we have decided to do this type of event, to show them that not even within their own VA system are they communicating correctly, then educating their staff. And this is why we are petitioning, and hopefully we'll promote change and at least get the secretary of the VA or local Congress members or hopefully the federal Congress to listen to us and see the need for additional medical research.
They do need and that's the other thing we got into an argument with on TikTok with them was they didn't believe in whenever I brought up the anthrax shot. They did not believe there was anything vaccine injuries. I said, really? I said, so you telling me all the people that were given anthrax from a tainted manufacturer? I was like, people need to do the homework before they open up their damn mouth. And I mean, I think all y'all will agree with that. And I mean, why can't the VA just come out and say, hey, look, you know what? We know vaccine injuries exist. We need to take care of them. I don't get it.
And that's what we're hoping to demand on Veterans Day, because they are diagnosing, they being the VA and the US government, are diagnosing veterans and civilians with vaccine injury related medical conditions. Like myself, through the Michigan VA system, they diagnosed me with vaccine immunoglobulin anti-sera and adverse reaction. And that's a fancy way of saying vaccine injury. I went through the War Related Injury and Illness Study Center. I did their week-long session online through Palo Alto, and every single individual I spoke to agreed that my conditions were caused by vaccine injury. But until we have that critical medical research, we won't know which one. We won't know if it was a process of multiple given at one time. But what we will find out with medical research is who's more susceptible to vaccine injury, why it causes some chronic illness in some and not others. And we will determine that for not just veterans, but for everyone globally. So hopefully by determining if it's a protein in the blood or what have you, whatever molecule, we'll be able to decrease that vaccine injury take. And I understand the numbers are low, but without having proper accountability, we have no idea what those numbers really are. But what we do know is that the Vaccine Injury Compensation Center, through our national federal government, has given out millions of dollars every year for vaccine injury, and that includes the COVID vaccine.
Yeah, and see, this is what makes me mad though. Even though your doctors and them say, okay, you're vaccine injury, the other part of the VA don't recognize it. That seems to be, I mean, it's no different than, oh yeah, you're over in the Gulf War, but you're still not covered. It's like, wait a second, what hand doesn't talk to the other? I mean, this hand needs to slap the shit out of somebody with this hand.
Somebody mentioned that last week on one of the groups. Presumptives. We all know about the presumptives. There's probably a lot of veterans that don't know about the presumptives.
Yeah, I think that's a very fair statement. They're not aware of presumptives.
Correct. And the thing is, one, this is great outreach to them, as well as one veteran at a time. But just because it's a presumptive doesn't necessarily they're going to get rated for it. That's what it says, but it doesn't work out like that.
Right.
And after battling the VA for 25 years, I can attest to that.
Yeah.
But, yes. And so what, you know, especially those who are not even aware. I've seen a lot of that lately. You know, my husband served in the Gulf War. He has this, and this. I found this group. Can somebody help me? That's the person I want to help right there.
Right.
I want to point in the right direction.
Absolutely. And not to interrupt, but so Wade, when we talk about our era and those people that served in the Gulf War, we're about you were in the military just because you weren't in the Gulf War. If you served in the military, regardless, okay, you were, and this presumptive, that word presumptive is a terminology that the government uses to say you were here. It's presumed that you were exposed to A, B, or C. It's exactly that. And men and women out there don't understand some of the lingo, and that's the catch. You know, they don't. Wait a second, I was there. Would this be presumptive? Probably. If you're thinking it, it's probably connected. You just got to have some of the fancy words, or go to your VSO, whomever it is, and get the information.
Like, you know? I still haven't heard of my whenever I filed. That was a month ago. I haven't heard. Normally 2 weeks I get a letter that, hey, you're denied. So, I mean, this is the longest it's ever taken for me to hear for mainly a denial. So I hope it's good news. But I got to hold my damn breath.
Well, that's what I was talking about, Kevin. That's with this last claim, we've been going on for, I believe it is 12 years now on one single issue. It went all the way to the appeal court in DC. The American Legion has lawyers. It's Bergman and something. I can't remember, but they're great. They represent veterans. They went through and found 4 different issues that the VA didn't follow through on. So now that claim has been remanded, which is it's good for me. I'm not doing this for me. I mean, I like the disability, but I still get up and I get my ass out of bed every morning and I go to work. you know.
Yep.
That's one thing that I've noticed on websites of veterans is on Gulf War veterans is you can't play, and I'm sorry if I piss someone off, but you can't play the woe is me card. You know, you've got to get out of bed, you got to make your bed and not get back in it. Get up, get moving, be happy you're alive, and keep moving forward.
Yeah, no, I agree. I agree 100%. And that shouldn't piss off anybody but somebody who's damn near just giving up. I mean,
Right. You can't give up.
No, hell, you give up, they win. I was told not that long ago that at a claims being filed, believe this or not, that only really and truly about 10 to 20% of veterans are approved. Think about that.
On appeals, or I mean on claims?
Overall, because
our generation is currently, with what I read last week was correct, is we're at like 80% of Gulf War claims are denied.
yeah,
80%.
yeah.
I think
But
it's every bit as that high as that, if not higher.
Yeah, but
Yeah.
people give up, and that's just it. As I
They
tell
give
That's
you,
what they're banking on.
Correct. Yep,
Right.
correct.
but a lot of them give up, and you can't. I mean, hey, if you have a spouse, if you got kids, this is what you're fighting for. So that way, they're not taking care of you, and they're taken care of. I know that sounded really weird.
No, I'll give you a perfect example. So my daughter graduated last year. The timing just happened. Now, I don't know if you're familiar with the Chapter 35 education benefits for dependents. So she's going to college full time, but because of the Chapter 35 in my rating, she gets, it's like $1,300 a month tax free to help her go to school. Well, that pays her rent, it pays for her books, whatever else. I mean, it's not for me, it's for her, which I wanted to bring up if I had a quick second. There was a post on Gulf War Babies and Parents United that they are waiting on the Gulf War research for parents and babies to begin in the fall of this year. We'll update as soon as possible. Preliminary estimates, release of information will be fall of 2022. That's what I'm about. I'm about the kids.
Yep, mine too.
I don't care about myself. I'm as long as I wake up every morning, I'm not pushing daisies, I'm doing good. But it's about the kids. I'm upset about my daughter with her issues, that if I caused them, I mean,
I lost your audio.
I lost your audio, Wade. I lost your audio, Wade. But no, you can't talk now. Nope, still lost your audio. But what Wade is saying, he's right, because his daughter and my daughter have the same issues. I mean, what's the chances of my daughter and his daughter having the exact same issues around the exact same time? And that's the thing I'm not understanding is what will our kids get? Nothing, except for maybe they'll find out and get treatment, be taken care of. I mean, that's what Wade's right. That's what this is about. It's about taking care of our kids.
Yeah, I mean, the family's got to be, for those of us who have issues, which are all of us. I mean, they always say there's a percentage, and I think everybody out there, if you're in the Gulf, or in Sarah's case, we've all been vaccinated. Lord knows, you've got some kind of issue that you don't have an answer for, and we want explanations, and we want to be fixed. Those of us who served in the Gulf War know there's not going to be a fix. The best thing we can hope for is, Kevin, like you pointed out so many times, a damn Band-Aid. What Band-Aid? How does it fit? I don't know. Different stroke, different
I forgot
foot.
my Band-Aid. I was gonna throw it on my forehead this time.
But yeah, we absolutely want the best for our kids. Or, you know, because if we suffer and Uncle Sam can pony up and do what they should do without having something called a PACT Act, which I'm glad it's out there and we're happy, but also frustrated that such a thing even has to exist because it shouldn't have to exist, but it does. But
I am so grateful for Camp Lejeune. I am. I'm so glad for them. They have been fighting this fight a lot longer than what we've been fighting our fight.
yeah,
And I mean, think about their spouses. Think about their dads, their loved ones, their kids, what they experienced. And now we're going through it. And they're there to help us too. I mean, they came on here and flooded with a lot of information. Just like Sarah. I didn't know much about vaccine injury until Sarah.
no.
And me and Sarah started talking, and she came on the program. And then now I know so much about it that, I mean, even what, I still hear people say, go get vaccinated, go get this. Well, talk to the people who had blood clots because of the latest vaccine. Talk to the people that have had heart attacks. COVID was weaponized. I don't care what anybody says. I'll say it on my program. I'm sure I'm already blacklisted. I'll say it again.
You're going to have a black limousine show up to your door.
Yeah, that's all right. But I mean, it's okay. But the truth needs to get out there. And I mean, even till the present day, what are the troops going through? The Army. I'm going to bring y'all up today. Kevin's bringing y'all up. Do you know, though, the Army has the lowest, what's that word I'm looking for? Personnel now?
No, I didn't
yeah.
know that.
Yeah, for recruitment and everything else. Yeah.
For recruitment?
Yeah.
And the Navy's right behind them. Go Navy. And then the Marines, I don't know why anybody want to be a Marine. I mean, them guys crazy. But I think, I guess they're all going into the damn Air Force because they didn't bring up the Air Force. But I was like, that's crazy. I mean, it's at a dangerous low.
Yes.
A dangerous low.
Well, I mean, and I don't remember the gentleman's name. Was it Sarah Wade? I don't know which one of you brought this gentleman on. It was, well, I think it was probably Sarah because he talked about the vaccine injury. And he's had so many problems, and he had brought to the forefront there that what the recruiters, the Army recruiters, were offering. I don't know, $30,000, but you had to go in, do such a thing. But it was like right now, money talks. You know, when you're a young kid, 17, 18 years old, and seeing the dollar signs, it's like, oh, sign me up, let's go. I get to go to a foreign country, woohoo! Oh, line up for your shots, and next thing you know, you're on 30 years and looking at people like us.
Right,
like,
yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, my God, I was going to say something. I got to stay out of that. No, but I mean, no, it's true. It is true. The military is different than when we were in. It's softer. But,
it is.
But when we were in, it was a little bit softer than what Vietnam went through in Korea. I mean, every year it's just softer. But I think people are now wanting things to harden up. But they want our troops taken care of. There is a lot of pride for veterans and our troops, except for with politicians. There's just a lot of pride in it. I mean, there is. Everywhere you say the American flag here, American flag there. But by golly, I'm telling you right now, if I ever see a politician wearing a damn American flag pants or something says I support our troops, I'm going to be like, oh, you going to talk. Because why do you got to pass bills to take care of our damn troops? Why?
Well, and see, the problem, Kevin, Sarah Wade, you all know what the problem is. The problem is that a person that's running for political office, they don't want to offend anybody. And if they somehow offend a veteran, and it comes across and it's in the open air, then they're going to get a whole lot of people pissed off. So they're going to tell everybody that they all support the veterans and everything's cushy, you know, unless that person is a veteran themselves, you know.
Correct.
I mean, if they're a veteran themselves, we got people running for office right here in the state of Iowa that are veterans, regardless, here again, regardless of the political affiliation. I don't care what side of the fence you're on. If you're a veteran, you're going to understand. Now, are you still going to put out, if you ask them a very direct question, depending on that individual's character, how they're going to answer that, you know, are they going to be truthful, or are they just going to tell you what they want you to hear to appease the masses to get them into office? And I'm not, I mean, we're all veterans, no disrespect to any veterans, but I mean, there are some that are you know, maybe not morally in the correct place in their mind. And
Well, I got one for you, John. So I have a cousin that is in the Iowa House of Representatives, has been there for 30 years. And he's a Democrat, that's fine. But I ask him the hard questions. And there's a lot of times that he doesn't really want to answer me, just like you were saying. And this is a relative. I said, well, answer to the people, you know?
I got an idea. You want to talk about really getting blacklisted?
let's
Why
hear.
don't we all go to the MEP stations throughout the United States and stand there with a clipboard and show them, these are the presumptives we got during Desert Storm or from the vaccine. Would you like to join? I mean, no, but you think about that. I mean,
How
dude,
quickly
kids
would we
like,
be
"What
escorted
the
off the
hell?"
site?
Man, their mamas be like, get your ass back to the house. I'm telling you right now.
I know a young guy, he's coming up on the end of his 4-year. He's getting deployed to Korea for the 1-year hardship in Korea. I don't know if that was punishment or whatever. He was a leg, so it don't matter.
Useful.
Come on, Sarah, smile. And the military for this young guy is probably the best place he could be. He could retire in less than 15 years. The benefits, I mean, he's never been to combat. He's got a good job, but you can't tell these young people where we're gonna be. I could have retired when I was 37 years old. 37 and retired. But I chose to get out. I don't know how you guys are. That's my biggest regret, is getting out.
Yeah, me too. Is that mine too?
Yeah.
I was forced out medically. So it ended my very promising counterintelligence special agent career. So I'm not very happy about.
I would like to hear a couple of those special agent
Me
stories.
too. I want to hear
Yeah,
this.
bring it.
Come
Bring
on, Miss
it.
Special Agent. Come
I
on.
bet she was undercover in
It's-
those off-limit places.
It's so classified she can't talk about it.
I have to kill you.
I mean, come on, you got to have one damn good story that you can tell. Like, you know, like a lost arm.
Or something declassified you can share.
The story that comes to my mind has to do with an infantry unit on Fort Lewis, but
What's the leg?
it wasn't with counterintelligence or a military intelligence unit. It was with the CID Criminal Investigation Division unit that I was working with before I decided to become a counterintelligence special agent. And so, as we probably are very well aware, anyone like the infantry, when they aren't doing their job or have something to do overseas or out in the field, they have to come up with
Drink
a way
beer.
to entertain themselves. So one night, these gentlemen decided that they were going to get really drunk, and they decided to entertain themselves by taking pictures of their fellow service members in very precarious positions.
Oh no.
Oh no.
Oh no.
And so the next day, this one particular service member was not very happy about some of the pictures that were taken in Polaroid form. And so he
Oh wait, for everybody who don't know that from 30 and below, a Polaroid is a camera. You press the button and it comes out, and you look at it. Just letting everybody know.
Yes, thank you for that explanation.
Oh, you're welcome. You're welcome. You're welcome.
You might not know that. Although they did bring the Polaroid back, it's just a different. It's like a mini Polaroid. So anyway, he was not very happy when he saw the photo of his position, and so he decided he would take it to not his leadership, but the criminal investigative department. And when we started to investigate, we had to interview every subject that was part of the photos and
Posers.
Of the incident.
I'll just say that this poor service member had something in a place that you don't want things.
A gerbil?
That
Oh,
no,
gee.
nothing live.
Oh, thank God. Oh, my
good.
God.
Thank goodness. Save the wildlife.
Vegetable form. And he was not very happy about it. So they were tried, and it was brought to at a criminal level, and that was like probably
Hell no. You said a vegetable form. Oh my God, what the size of that cucumber was.
Oh Jesus.
Oh,
I hope it wasn't a cantaloupe. But
I'm not gonna say it. I got so much I can say right now.
but, I mean, could you imagine getting a Polaroid of yourself?
No.
Oh my God.
Oh.
You know what though? Those were the best times.
Y'all remember that time I was on that ship and all of a sudden that we got that Polaroid out. We started taking the tomatoes and
Well, they were like those cherry ones.
oh my
My
God, we got to get off
God.
this topic because I'm gonna have way too much fun with that crap, man. But I love that story. See, now why don't you tell more shit like that? Do you know how many listeners we could bring in? Now, I will say this: like Wog Day, this is when you cross the equator at zero latitude or zero longitude, and so
That's on a clock, right?
shellbacks will come out and they have these 18-inch hoses, and they can't do this shit anymore because man, you get in so much trouble, and they make whips out of them, and they take all the wogs, which is about 100 to like 300 something shellbacks. They'll spray them down with water, make them crawl, and they'll beat their ass until they're black and blue. I'm not kidding you. They'll take Tabasco sauce, put it down your pants, whatever, and they'll beat the hell out of you. After about the 200 hit, you can't feel anything anyway because you're so damn numb from the hit.
What kind of shit is this? Oh my God.
Yeah, this is to become. Hey, this is to become a shellback, and I'm a shellback. Well, let me tell you, when you get up to the top, you got to stick your head in these old ass toilet bowls that has tomatoes and God knows what else in there. And I'll get to that in a second. And then if you piss off enough people, they drag your ass back to the front of the ship and you got to go all the way back aft. I went 3 times. That's how many people are pissed off. My captain was one of them.
Uh-oh.
By the end of it, you're happy to see the fat guy sitting in a chair all greased up with Crisco with the olive in his belly button. I'm not kidding you. And you got to take the olive or the cherry out of his belly button.
Oh, hell no.
See, they don't like this
no.
shit. Okay, no. So whenever our turn to be shellbacks and towards the wogs, Hey, let me tell you, I was black and blue from the head all the way down to my toes. They beat my ass so hard. And they say the more they beat you, the more you were liked. I must have been really liked. And I mean, it took me days to get that freaking hot sauce out of the crack of my ass. But anyway, that's a visual. But when it was our turn, they were like, come on, man, we're going to show y'all what we did up on the ship, up on the fantail. So they put the toast bowl there. They start peeing in them and pooping. I'm like, you gotta be kidding me. I had a bob for tomatoes and that? That's what they did. I got books showing it. And I'm like, oh my God, I could have puked everywhere. But since it was my turn, instead I did what they were doing.
Now I understand a little bit more
about the Navy life.
Disgusting or the Navy persona.
Dude, they would put this trash can like 3 weeks out. And they would just come dump eggs, tomatoes in it. I'm like, that crap's gonna stink all over my area. And they're like, no, leave it. And then they dump ashes in there from the cigarettes and stuff. And now I know what they used it for. Along with feces. Oh, it was nasty. It was nasty. But
I never
nothing worse than the Polaroid story.
Oh, yes, it is.
Hell
This is personal. You just talked about pulling something out of a dude's navel.
But everybody had to do it. You know,
and that makes it better.
Well, it's a lot. I didn't have no damn pictures taken of me with a freaking cucumber or nothing. I'm just saying that. Look what the Navy did. Look what the Army did. Right? It was Army that you investigated, correct, Sarah?
It was.
Yeah.
So
He's laughing like somehow it's better.
Sarah's story was a lot worse than mine.
Kevin, I'm gonna share a story here real quick, just because that just reminded me, because it is Airborne Day. So once you complete basic airborne course after your 5 jumps, then you line up in formation, and then you have the black hats, which are your instructors, and they're going to come pin your airborne wings on you. Now, you're not really airborne qualified unless you get what they call, quote unquote, blood wings. And what that means is, you remember those nice little decorative things we had that we pinned to our uniforms, we put the backings on? They pin that to your chest.
What?
And then those black hats come by and they go pound. The next one comes up, pulls it out of your skin. Pound. No backing on the back. It's just all the needles. And then pound and pound and pound over. And then next thing you know, you look down and you can see blood through your BDUs. Oh, that's what we call blood wings. They don't allow that anymore because we're a woke military, but they do not allow that anymore.
Oh man, are you kidding
But
me?
I still have marks on my chest of where that happened.
I would have loved doing that. I would have loved. Shit, I should have became airborne.
I'm not sure, Kevin. After the story you just told, I mean,
John's gonna have nightmares about
John's
olives. Hey, John, you want some olives?
I'm never gonna look at olives another.
Or a cucumber.
Up until that moment, I really kind of like. Oh God.
Hey, I tell you what. Look, the military had a lot of traditions until after 1992, whenever the tail hook scandal happened. Thank you, Navy. Bunch of jackasses ruined it for everybody. But they really, we had really good, very painful traditions. I mean, you think about these were fire hoses 18 inches beating the ever living crap out. They would make you stick your head out of the bullhorn. Well, that's where the line comes through when you're tying off, and you would have to sing Flipper. You know, Flipper,
Was it just
Flipper,
me, Kevin, or
and they would beat the crap out of you.
Wade? the more Kevin talks, the more he makes it worse and worse and worse.
It does. It did sound like a porno, didn't it? Oh,
Kinda.
Flipper, the magical seal.
Oh my.
Well, see, you know what? Y'all notice one thing. John has not told one interesting story, has he?
I'm not a storyteller. I'll be the first to admit I can't tell a story. I'm not. I suck at storytelling.
You don't have one image. Well, not image, but I don't want to know your damn
image. I don't need another visual. I can't. We're just gonna have to let what you just said about the whole Navy thing. That's
You
gonna
never pooped outside in the woods?
Yeah, y'all that poop outside in the woods and use poison ivy to
E-tool,
wipe your ass.
E-tool. It's called an E-tool. You put that on the side, and you put one cheek on it, and you support yourself. What? That's what you do. Unless you got a tree to lean against.
But we didn't go through a Polaroid camera. I mean, we get drunk enough.
Let it go, Kevin.
Stupid.
Let it go.
I
Ain't
can't.
nothing gonna pass up this story. Let it go. Stop trying to dig yourself out.
Hey,
I
Sarah, did
wish
you get to see the Polaroid?
Yes.
No, I had a 35 millimeter back then.
Oh my God.
How would you get on the stand and actually testify to that? Well, there was this cucumber and it was sticking north.
Jesus.
Going south.
I just realized my mom's going to be listening to this podcast. So, Mom, it's Sarah's fault. I'm going to start with Wade because Wade made, the story.
Sarah, when she was telling her story, okay, I back up here a second, Kevin. You were given dimensions. You were given inches. You're talking about freaking stuff in people's navels. I mean, that.
You know what? You know what the crazy thing really is I bet Sarah or somebody had to measure that cucumber.
Or it could have been a cantaloupe. It could have been a cantaloupe.
There was no vegetable measuring.
No. But did y'all have to no measuring at all?
No, all we had was photography, the photos, and then we did the interviews. And I don't think we had to put anybody on the lie detector test during that time.
Well,
but
yeah, there's that Polaroid.
yeah, we had a lot of evidence. So.
Man.
Did they all get kicked out and dishonorable discharges and all that? Or did they have to say, I'm sorry?
Article 15 level, but because of the nature of the crime, some of those charges could be pretty extensive. So I don't know what the extent of what those charges were, and if they got the full extent of the law, but I'm sure they learned their lesson the hard way. In an infantry unit, I can only imagine their leadership.
You don't know if they got peeled back.
Oh my God, that is great. Oh,
I like cucumber with ranch.
Oh
my God, man. I tell you what, we need at the end of this to be a laugh.
Oh, Lord. Yeah, well, we should just stop.
Trying to put out some information.
Yeah.
Hopefully some enjoyment.
This has been, we've learned a lot. We learned about fruit. We learned about vegetables. And
weed.
And damn, we learned a lot tonight.
No, there's a lot. There's a.
John's gonna have nightmares. I just want y'all to know. John's gonna call me about 2 a.m. and say, "Kevin, you're an asshole. I'll never eat an olive again."
Oh my God. Yeah. Yeah.
But
sorry, I can't. I just.
Well, I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to start wrapping it up. But I'm going to start with Sarah. Sarah, do you have anything you would like to say?
I just want to say thank you again for letting me be a part of this roundtable discussion. It's always enjoyable being around you guys. Thank you for making me laugh and smile and telling stories. I don't have many, but I hope you enjoyed it.
Oh, I did. I definitely enjoyed your story. Wade, do you got any non-vegetable stories or anything you'd like to
I
say?
do. I'm just thinking off the top of my head. I've said this to my child several times. Is my times in the military. The ones I like to remember are the fun times, and that's the stories I tell. I I don't recall, only to my shrink, the bad times. So, but this group has done wonderful for me, and hopefully we can do something for other veterans out there. And like we said before, if anyone has any questions or anything, just reach out to any of us. I do want to put a plug in for Denise Nichols. She's on every Gulf War website, and if anybody out there needs help, contact her directly. And I guarantee she'll be more than happy to help anybody and steer them in the right direction.
Amen. John, I'm afraid to ask you. Do you have any last comments?
No, I'm sorry for all the laughing. I mean, that story, they were both hilarious. It was the way that, Kevin, that you were so adamant, exact memories about things. So visually graphic. Anyways, I think understanding the benefits the veterans can partake from marijuana. I think that's hopefully at someday in our lifetime, not too distant future. By that I mean maybe within the next 10 years would be great. I mean, marijuana is legal in a lot of states. It's still illegal in some. But the government, we understand as veterans, they don't want to acknowledge it. We all have our opinions as to why, but it is beneficial. We know this, and understanding it and looking into it as a veteran, I think is important. There's a lot of information, and hopefully in the not too distant future, we can get the individual come on and talk even further about that. And like Wade said, like we all, hey, if you got questions about getting help, or how do I pursue getting help as a veteran, whether it's for benefits or getting service connected for some disability, ask. We can help. I mean, it's not a magic wand. It doesn't happen overnight. It takes a little bit of work, but you got to get up and move forward, because doing nothing is going to get you nothing.
Amen, brother.
Amen. And I want to thank everybody listening, and I want to leave a little few things for thoughts. Just not stop smiling, Sarah. I'm not going to say anything about anything we just said. I want everybody to know we all know somebody out there that is older, that is a veteran, and they may not know about their benefits. Tell them to get a hold of the 1-800 number. Tell them to get a hold of a VSO officer. Start letting the elderly people know that there's benefits, and their spouses. I think that's very important. I think that's a key thing, is helping the elderly and helping our group, which we're not elderly yet, but we're getting there. But I want to thank all y'all for coming on and the amazing stories we had this evening. And I'm with you, Wade. I remember a lot of the good, and I have a lot of good. I mean, there's still a lot of funny stories I haven't told y'all, because I'll wait. You know.
What was that number again, Kevin? You said to call
1-800-827-1000. That will get you a start. Go to your local VA. Go to your local VA clinic, guys, and tell everybody. There you go. There you go. Back it up a little bit. Perfect. Right there.
Call that number.
Call that number. And also, spread the word about this podcast. Like and share it. The more veterans we get connected with, the more it's gonna help them. And it, like Wade said, it's helped me tremendously. I know it's helped John. Sarah, I hope it helped you. You know, you know, and staying connected, and which we all will. This round table ain't going nowhere. And everything. And I love each and every one of y'all. Thank you for coming on.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you, everyone.
Y'all have a great, great night. Thank you for listening to Go For Side Effects. If you have any stories you would like to share or just have any comments or questions, please email me at kevinsimon@goforsideeffects.com. Just to let all of our listeners know, we have opened an online store. All proceeds will go to helping veterans connect. The link will be in the description below.